All right, final segment every week brought to you by our awesome friends, Barrel Theory Beer Company. Keyboard Warriors are largely NHL hot take segment, but occasionally it veers into topics outside of hockey. And you all know this weekend stretch is quite the slate of hockey. We've got Edmonton Thursday night at home. We've got a matinee Saturday game, I think 1 o'clock, hosting Philadelphia Flyers. And then Sunday at 5 o'clock, Vegas Golden Knights. All of you should be flocking to sections 105, 112, 217, and club level 36 for the greatest craft beer offering you're going to get at XL Energy Center, Barrel Theory. That's right. And Joe, I'm on my final couple sips here of the latest delicacy that Timmy hooked us up with, doom scrolling, which is just that hits way too close to home. I'm almost having like a little PTSD from the name. But delicious hazy IPA, 7%er, easy drinker. I know hazies are like your baby.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, just go off. How's this hazy stack up for you?
Very good. I love the design too. Like, it's like one thing to have, to have the different kind of the eyes there.
Right behind
colors, like the way I have a lot of respect for breweries when they have unique designs for it, the colors, everything else, and the names. Like, you can tell they care. But yeah, like I love hazies. I'll go anywhere in Twin Cities and get hazies or just regular IPAs and New England IPAs or whatever. It's my thing. And so thankfully, between that, Jim McGavin and all that stuff, Barrel Theory has been really good to us for that. No doubt.
Yeah. And everyone says too, it's funny if you talk to anyone in the industry, like, yeah, like the label design, the beer name, that's what's going to get someone to try you. Got to make sure the beer is good enough that they're going to have you again. And
it's still going to be good beer. It can't be. Yeah,
that's right. And Barrel Theory knocks that out of the park. Like, again, I know obviously I have to say that because they're a partner of ours, but anyone that knows me or has followed me for any extended period of time, they wouldn't be a friend or a partner if I didn't think their beer was freaking awesome. So check it out. Let us know what you think. If you get it at the game, tag us in a picture. Let us know. And producer Isha, Spoke Z, and myself will all be out at the Thursday game. So if anyone's out there, let us know. Love to grab a beer with you guys. But let's get into the hot takes here, Joe. And for once, these are all provided by yours truly because I had several that I had bookmarked and for whatever reason lost them entirely. So we're going purely off of some of the ones from me. And one of them I planned on talking about. We'll go to that right away. And it started with Cam Robinson. Most who follow prospects are very familiar with Cam's work. Cam's awesome. He said that he's been hearing whispers that there could be some effort from the Dallas Stars to pursue Evgeni Malkin. Obviously, with Tyler Seguin going on LTIR, that's going to open up the space. They definitely have the pieces that they could potentially move in a deal like that. The real question mark is, like, does Evgeni Malkin even want to waive his no trade clause? Odds are he wants to stay in Pittsburgh. I just replied to his post and said, I'll see your Seguin LTIR and raise you a potential. We'll see what happens with Jonas Brodin, but Brodin LTIR. Evgeni Malkin in Minnesota absolutely moves them up a notch as far as trying to make a push in the playoffs and contend. You have the pieces to move, especially, again, Joe, I don't think I need to convince you. I do not want Marco Rossi to leave. I love Marco Rossi, but if Bill Guerin has decided that Marco Rossi is not staying, he is the foundational piece of a trade there. And I wouldn't mind cheering for him in Pittsburgh, so that'd be okay. But you've got Guerin and Fleury here to make it an easy transition for Evgeni Malkin and the chance to center arguably the best Russian winger right now in Kirill Kaprizov. It's pretty freaking enticing. It's an interesting concept. And then you've got him there to usher in guys like Yurov, who's Nadinov. Do I think this is going to happen? Absolutely not. Do I think that it's a really interesting proposition if both sides had interest? Absolutely. So you tell me, if Guerin and Dubas were both down to play ball, is this the type of trade that you would even consider, or do you think I'm just out to lunch?
I think it's fun idea, and I love outside the box here. I will just
sugarcoating it so much before you.
I will defer to my esteemed colleague Rob Rossi in Pittsburgh, who said essentially, just like there's no way in hell Crosby is leaving Pittsburgh, there's no way in hell Malkin is leaving Pittsburgh. And I know they're different. They're different. I get it. They're not the same. I get the Guerin thing. The Fleury thing. Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I mean, I guess it was hard to imagine Stamkos playing for the National Predators too, right? So like, there's things there are things that you did not think would happen that did happen, but I think if you're the Wild and you're in the top position or close top position in the conference in March and you have a chance to go for a big fish, I think that with the history of this franchise and having the best player in franchise history, and like you mentioned, Kaprizov, and like I think you go for whatever you can go for. I don't know if it's Rossi or whatever, but I just don't. It's hard for me to imagine Malkin playing anywhere else. And for you as a Pittsburgh fan, I think I can. He doesn't seem like a Fedorov type that will go sign with the Blue Jackets somewhere, or like whatever.
True.
I just don't. I don't see that. So I don't know him well, so I don't want to speak for him, but I just think that it's just hard for me to imagine Malkin playing anywhere else. And if Crosby's going to ride it out, ride or die, I think
true.
Malkin might too. So I don't know. That's
fair.
I don't think it's wrong to kick any tires on anything, but it's just especially if you're Bill Guerin. But I will defer to my colleague who covers them forever and knows Malkin and speaks Russian, and he says there's no way those guys are going anywhere. So I'll say I'm wrong in 3 episodes when it's wrong. But I don't see
3 episodes. All right, I'm going to mark that. That's perfect. Yeah. No, it really for me, because again, do I think this is happening? No. I think that Malkin and Crosby both retire Penguins, but for me, it's more. I would be really, really shocked if Crosby left. Whereas Malkin, I don't think he can handle losing. I don't think he can stomach it. And they are bad. They are really bad. Does he want to leave? No. But if you tell him he can go to a contender and all the other caveats I threw out there, I think he entertains it even if he doesn't go. Like he would maybe consider, whereas Crosby's like, no, I'm staying here. I'm gonna have statues built.
You think Crosby can stomach losing like more than Malkin can?
I think he's super pissed, but I think he can at least tolerate it. Malkin runs hot so much quicker than Crosby does. Like we've seen Crosby, like he can be a snapshot at times, but like Malkin gets real frustrated. And do I think that he can weather it? Sure. But if you're in the midst of them being one of the worst teams in the league and Dubas comes to you and says, hey, Guerin and Fleury want you to come over and hang out and you get to center Kaprizov and go on a playoff run. Are you interested? Does he say yes? Maybe not. Does he say, I'm going to think on it? I lean yes. That's more where I'm at. I think he is going to get tired of losing real fast because they really haven't done it. Like any year they've missed the playoffs, it's been razor thin. He hasn't been on a bottom feeder like this, and he doesn't. Crosby is the face of the team. Malkin is not. As much as I love Malkin, and I actually like Malkin is my favorite Penguin of this like couple generations that him and Crosby have ushered in. Like I love him. I just don't see him being in the same light for anyone as Sidney Crosby. And that's not a slight to him. That's just like what Crosby meant to this team. So it'll be interesting. I don't know, but will this happen? No. If it does, I'll be really interested, but we don't have to waste much more time on it because it's not going to happen. Let's talk about a team that I do not like. The New York Rangers. First one here that's clearly people don't agree with, but I have to say, there's nothing wrong with how the New York Rangers handled the Trouba situation. I'm sorry. I know people want to make it into a bigger thing because he's their captain, but there's been plenty of other players most recently, and I know this one is one that hits close to home for you, Joe. Ryan McDonough, literally getting the exact same treatment to end up in Nashville. I feel for Trouba, and I understand why he wanted to resist being traded because of his family situation. But end of the day, it's a business. He's been bad. They need to move on. He eats up a ton of cap space. Do you have a problem? Largely, again, could they have handled things more delicately or been a little nicer about it? Maybe, but the reality is, this is the business. Do you think that the Rangers did anything largely wrong here?
I do. I mean, and the McDonough thing too is a perfect example. They played for their third straight Stanley Cup in Tampa. He played with a mangled finger.
Yeah.
2 days later, Julian Brisebois, who I respect a lot as a GM, as a human being, called him in and said, basically, we have no choice. We don't want to. We have to trade you. And then went up that week, and there's gently a chance that be on waivers. If he wasn't accepted trade and he found a way to go to Nashville, but these are negotiated part of contracts, right?
Yeah.
This is not just no trade or no move clauses are part of contracts, and they're bargained, and they're not snuck up on teams. These are teams offer these things so they can get favorable terms on contracts and longer term and get these guys to sign. And so to go on ahead and say, we're going to negate what I offered you, my contract is, because of this. This is not the NFL where contracts aren't guaranteed, right? This is typically they're guaranteed in other sports, right? And so I just have a problem, and there's a lot of problems with hockey in terms of the CBA and revenue sharing, all that stuff like that. But it just if you sign a person long term and give them a no move clause, and then by the no move clause, I meant kind of no move, maybe
no trade, not no move. If it was no move, they couldn't threaten the waive.
Well, yes, I get that, but it's still, you negotiate in good faith and you give this guy this term when he could have gotten somewhere else or whatever, and you decide to do that. I know it's business, and I I'm just curious on how it'll be other players who decide in free agency, not for me to decide,
right. This is a CBA thing, right? They got to fix it because they're well within their rights to threaten to waive the player. It's just okay, sounds like we need to get rid of that option altogether, right? Make every no trade and no move.
Won't be able to do that, but I'm just saying, if I'm a free agent, gonna sign an 8-year deal with the Rangers long term. Shesterkin signed a long-term extension with a no move.
That's my next one.
No move clause. Okay, well, no move. You're not going anywhere until 4 years from now when they're.
But they can't do anything because it's a no move. With a no move, they cannot waive you. That's the difference. If it's a no trade, well, no. But the difference is with Trouba and McDonough, they had no trade clauses, not no move clauses. Mm-hmm. So the threat was, if you don't agree to go to this team, which we think is the nice landing spot, we're going to waive you and you're going to be claimed by Columbus, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas Shesterkin, that can't happen to.
Well, not everybody gets no move clauses, right? Not everybody gets no move clauses.
No, totally. No, I agree. But that's part of the negotiation. I don't know. Because of what was negotiated, I get where you're coming from. I think that the players get done dirty. I think the same thing happens throughout organizations outside of the players themselves. It's a slippery slope, but I get where you're coming from. I respect it. I also have a little bit of a weird spot with the Trouba one because he basically said, yeah, if you trade me to a team that's not on my no trade list this summer, I'm just not going to show up. And that really irked me. I don't respect that when it was within his negotiated no trade,
Well, it's not negotiated. It's negotiated. It's part of the contract. Like it's not.
No. I was quoting you saying the
Yeah.
negotiated portion. Like he negotiated a partial no trade.
Yeah.
If they're going to trade you to a team that's not on your no trade list, and you say, "Well, I'm not going to go anyways," like,
Well, yeah. If it's not on your trade
it.
list, you have to go. Like that's one thing versus like, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The Shesterkin contract one, Joe. I think that's going to ruin the Rangers. 11.5 for a goalie in this economy. He's a great goalie. That's not the question, but like it feels like they're going into the Lundqvist era all over again, where they're going to basically waste this great goalie's career not being able to support around him.
Well, the cap's going to go up in theory, as we all think and say, the next couple of years. So, and what would the Rangers be without him? Quite honestly,
they have no choice. I'm not challenging that they shouldn't do the signing. It's more, I just think it's going to hurt them. Like Drury has no choice. If you let him walk, you're fired. Period.
But like, yeah, well, what's your choice then? Not signing him to free agency, and like, who are you going to sign?
Yeah,
Cam Talbot at age 40, or what are you going to do? Like, you know, like
you had to go with Talbot. I love it.
What are you going to do? Like, I just don't like. He is the Rangers. Like, he's the reason why the last couple of years they've been contenders.
Yeah,
you can tell they're flailing right now. They're making trades. Like they're traded Trouba, their captain. They're like the last 4 captains are him and McDonough and Callahan and Drury, right?
That sounds right. I don't know if Drury was the one before Callahan, but it's
3 traded and 1 bought out. Like is that really true?
It's pretty dang close. That sounds about right.
So like I'm just saying, like, you know, like I don't know. What else are you gonna do with the Rangers? Like you have to go on this guy, right? This is
again, I am not criticizing it because I think Drury had no choice and you had to lock him up because the number was probably only going to go up. I just think it was a no-win situation where letting him walk is worse, but signing him for that, I don't know if they're going to win a cup with him. And that's not his fault. It's just, it's tough to build around a goalie that expensive. Like we talked about it earlier with Gustafsson, like Gustafsson maybe should be viewed as our MVP for how cheap his contract is and him being an elite tier goalie like this. Like it's insane, but I don't know. Again, it's not a knock on Shesterkin. He's a great goalie. I'm not challenging his abilities. I'm not saying that Drury shouldn't have done it. It's just, I don't think there was a right move here. This was just the least wrong move and he made it.
And like goaltending is one of probably the toughest positions to give long-term contracts for because they're volatile one. And like the Lightning gave Vasilevsky a $9.5 million one. People criticized that in the beginning of it when he was an RFA, right? He won 2 Stanley Cups. He's won a Conn Smythe. You know, he's paid on his investment. And we'll see how he does the rest of his career. But like that guy, he's proven he's won big games, right?
Totally.
Like you give him the benefit of the doubt going forward, right? The contract was signed before that happened, right? Of course, but like he makes $2 million less than Shesterkin will. That's just you sign it earlier on, like 4 years ago. Like our house cost a lot less 4 years ago than
right
now.
It's like if Guerin had done an 8-year deal with Kaprizov at 11 mil, we'd all be very happy right now.
Yeah, we just got to the airport and said, "Hey, Kirill, you want a Ryan Suter, Zach Parise deal?" Oh, we can't do that. But you want an 8-year deal? Like, of course they would have loved to sign him for. I mean, you know, it's like you ever watch the movie Air, the Michael Jordan movie.
Oh, the documentary about the shoes.
Yeah, Nike was like the 3rd place shoe company between Converse and Adidas, and they were like, "Oh, well, we get Jordan, we're gonna win." And like they sold Jordan on the fact that like, "Hey, we're all on you," and they give him a piece of the shoe, right? "Oh, we'll give you a certain percentage," and the character at the end is like the Phil Knight character. Ben Affleck's like, "Oh, what's our biggest sale? $3 million for a shoe? Well, how much is that going to cost? Like $160 million the first year of the shoe. Like, you know, making $1 billion on a shoe for percentage. But like, if you have that guy, you go in on that guy. You know, like, and that certainly proved into it. But
no, that's for sure. Well, no, all right, that was a juicy one. Thank you, Barrel Theory, for bringing us again another week of hot takes.